Hi guys, this is Oshi and this is gonna be my conclusion video of our second spread over at Tried Spread Revisited. We collect our thoughts and share our experiences in the Facebook group, but this is the hashtag you can use on any social media if you want to join in. The main purpose of this hashtag is to stick with a spread for a lunar cycle. We chose a lunar cycle just to make things easy, but we wanted to give ourselves a chance to work with the same spread for a longer period of time, because it's very attractive or enticing to just go and do a new spread every time you feel like you need to work with something. But these spreads and the time that we're actually dedicating to working with them so far seems, for me, was very beneficial, but it looks like it's very beneficial for other people as well. So anybody can join in. You don't have to have a YouTube channel or even Facebook, because the group is public, so you're supposed to be able to see everything more or less, because there are some restrictions on Facebook. After a while it starts bugging you to log in if you don't have an account, but in theory you're able to use all the spreads without being a member and everything. But if you want to, I advise, or I invite you to, it's better to say that, I invite you to join, because there are some lovely supportive people there, so you can find a little community if you need to. And I'm doing the next spread, which is already posted on my website, but it's going to be posted on my Instagram and on Facebook as well, so just choose your platform, I guess. But what I did different than the previous time I worked, or is it our third one already? Now I'm confused. Anyway, this is our latest spread, let's just say that. Because last time, what did I do last time? Oh, let's not think about it, because I'm confusing myself. But so, yes, I remember what I did last time and what I did differently this time. So last time I pulled cards every week, and I didn't keep the same cards, just I just shuffled and I pulled cards for the positions and I read that. But this time I did what the others did for the first spread, that I shuffled the cards the first time, and then the next week I pulled the same cards from different decks. So the reading got different, but not in the way that I did it the first time. And to be honest, to me, I think the pulling new cards every week was better, because I feel like I got more out of the position that way, because it's just me. For me, I guess it allowed me to see more into the question. But it's a great way to learn about yourself and how you like to work with spreads as well, an exercise like this. So I pulled 4 decks. I pulled from 4 decks. I started with the Santa Muerte tarot, then I used the Tarot Vintage, the Tarot of the Little Prince, and the Everyday Witch Mini. I'm not going to get into detail on every position, because there are some very personal stuff came up, and which I'm surprised, not surprised. I mean, I don't know if it's a surprise, because I'm quite open on this channel, but I'm not. There are just things that I don't want to talk, and that was exactly that. So yeah, shadow work. But I want to show you some, and share, because I have my notes. I have some experiences that might be interesting to go over, at least for myself. So I mean, I chose the topic the lovers because of the previous spread. This was the first one, the Santa Muerte. which is a not nice card, but it's not necessarily something that I would, you know, be excited for. Then I had, which was a very, you know, it's quite, in a way it's different, but in a way it's quite similar, the two, you know, standing next to each other, though I wasn't really paying attention to the Lovers card, to be honest, in the first two spreads. But this is my ultimate favorite, and I wasn't even thinking about that this Lover card would come out. This is my favorite Lovers card ever from the Tarot of the Little Prince. And this is the Everyday Witch Mini. What was interesting that I got, so the main spread is that you chose one focus area, and then you pull 3 on the left, and those are the seeds that you're supposed to be cultivating, and then you pull 3 on the right side, and those are the weeds that you're supposed to get rid of. And for me it was quite interesting because I felt like the seed and weed positions could be very well or very easily interchanged or exchanged. So sometimes I was like, but this, like in the weeds position, an Ace of Swords, I was like, why is that a bad thing, you know? And also death as well. So after a while I kind of ignored that which one was supposed to be a seed and which one was supposed to be a weed, in a way that I changed it when it felt right. And you know, this goes against using a spread, but I think it was partially the problem was that I pulled too quickly the first spread, because I was like, oh my god, it's the new moon and I forgot to do it, and you know, just quickly pulled out the deck, and I was already in bed before that, and then I jumped out and did it, and I think I didn't sit with the intention enough, so the positions got mixed up. So that's my fault, that's not the spread, it's just I wasn't there enough, and that's, you know, an experience and a lesson that I've learned. The most important, no, not most important, the first one with the Santa Muerte was just like more about that specific card, which I'm sorry I'm not mentioning, because that was the in-your-face moment of the spread. So I didn't really I mean, I did the reading, I made notes, but I was focusing more on that one particular card. From the Santa Muerte tarot, I didn't get more out, as in looking at the whole. It was more about the individual cards and what I saw differently because they were in a different position, in a specific position. The next one, the Tarot Vintage, was quite interesting because I like working with the Rider-Waite-Smith now, but I still struggled with this one the most because I draw heavily my messages out of the images, even if I don't know that I'm doing that, because most of the time I'm rushing, because you know, I want to get it out, I want the information that's in my head, I want it out before it disappears, so to speak, or you know, I'm worried that it would subconsciously. But because I was using this for a week, the Tarot Vintage, I realized that I'm still not connected to the imagery. I'm still just with this deck, even though I like how it looks, you know, I like the aged look and everything, I'm not there yet, or who knows if I will ever be, but I can just look at that card and pull a story out of it. And that's very much how I see the readings, how the reading comes alive in my head. It becomes a story. So in a way, that storyteller part of me is how I'm doing my reading. which was very interesting, you know, to learn, because I didn't really know how I was doing a reading, in a way that I didn't know how to put it in words. But I am a storyteller in many areas of my life. I always was that. I just didn't know, and it's interesting and kind of makes sense that I'm like that with tarot readings as well. And now that doesn't mean that I'm coming up with stories and, you know, I'm lying or just pulling things out of my ass. No, it's just that the cards on the table quickly starts making a hole for me. When I started, you know, it was a struggle for a while to, you know, see cards in relation to each other, but that was the first thing I think that quickly changed as soon as I started working with the whole deck and not just majors, because I started out with just majors. And, you know, now I just enjoy it. You know, I put down X amount of cards and I can just talk about them. And I love that. And they make sense to me, and they make sense to the people that I do readings as well, so far. I mean, when it makes sense for them, it makes sense. Does it make sense? I don't think so. But anyway, the next one was, and I'm sorry I'm not showing really too much cards, but I posted all my spreads on the Facebook page or group if you're curious. The next one was the Tarot of the Little Prince, and with this one I think I went into more of the emotional side of things, because this is a very emotional deck for me, and by that I mean that I read with it in an emotional place, not in a, oh, I'm so sad emotional, you know, not that sort of emotional, just how to say that. I don't have 100 million years to edit what I'm saying right now. But everything is connected to my heart with this deck more than with my head, which is usually how I do readings, because I'm an airhead. I live in my head. But this deck is really just, in a way, a soul deck, I think, because it's connected to my soul more than my higher self. That's how I could, you know, word this. And this one of the most beautiful death card I think ever. I think that in this card is everything. Why he died, the little prince, and how scary it was actually, you know, the change, the transformation, because he wasn't sure that if the snake bites him, I mean, he seemed sure that if the snake bites him, he will be able to go back to his planet. But, you know, I don't know the name in English because I read the story in Hungarian, but the pilot, I think it was the pilot, you know, he was afraid for him, and it was, yeah, I reread the book recently, and I cried like a baby, because yeah, it's an emotional story. But for this deck, the Ace of Swords was kind of interesting, because that's Fox doesn't look like, you know, someone who's there to help you to get your answers. So it's a very interesting choice for an Ace of Swords, that, you know, the Ace of Swords is bringing clarity on a certain topic, but with the Fox there, the position of, you know, weed made sense more, because I was like, there is something that's preventing me from getting this moment, and I need to get rid of that part, not the actual seeing clearly, but what's preventing me from seeing clearly. I think that was my nose for it, but I'm gonna check. too, but also what did I write? My handwriting. Okay, so yeah, what I wrote was thoughts can be deceiving, you know, like the eyes of the fox. And I don't know if you can actually, because the glare and everything, but the eyes are orangish. It felt like it's not red, but you know, it's more on the red side. And you would assume that the fox is, you know, a mean thing, or you know, a sly thing, because it's a fox. But it's not in the story. If you read the story, you know that it's not. But in a way it is, because you know, it tricks you into being friends and then you have to leave them. But anyway, you know, that will come when I'm doing the 6 months in with the Tarot of the Little Prince, which I still need to film soon. So that was you know, more into allowing me to work with how this spread and how the reading affected me emotionally, because there are some stuff, one thing in particular that come up that I was tiptoeing around for a while. You know, I knew that I had a problem with it in a way that I had to let go, and I have to let go, because I hadn't yet fully. But yeah, that was, I think that week allowed me to just sit with my emotions more than, you know, adding new information, because the deck, or not the deck, my higher self, whatever that I'm connecting to when I'm doing the readings, knows that I need time to deal with stuff, you know. We all do. And the most, you know, the last one that I used was the Everyday Witch Mini, which I realized that even though I really like this deck and it's fun that it's mini, I will need to get and I want to get the full size, because I just can't see everything, even though the pictures are clear, so nothing is blurred or missed in a way. I just can't sit down and I'm like, what is that? You know, I just can't do that when I'm doing a reading. I want to zoom in, you know, on the cards. And with this deck, what the most interesting was, besides, you know, being like, no, I need the bigger one because I just can't see, were how the cards interacted with each other. Because, for example, let me show you, there was a lot of looking at each other and the seeing who's looking at whom sort of feeling, because the lovers were in the middle, you know, it's like two persons joining the two sides. And I really felt like this was the Beads, you know, the Ace of Swords, and Temperance was, where's Temperance? In this one, I really felt like, you know, these two were connecting the whole two sides, not just these two cards. So it felt like more like a Lenormandy in a way, even though I haven't started working with Lenormand sort of reading. And it was interesting that I had the Four of Swords as well, and the Ace of Swords was underneath, and it felt like, and I don't know if you can see that, but it feels like that this person is like trying to wake the other one up, you know, like, come on, it's time to, you know, get out of that protected space. You need to get out of your comfort zone and join the living, so to speak. And the Nine of Swords, no, Wands, the Nine of Wands was looking over at that as well, you know, feeling very cornered, and you know, like, I need to do this, I need to protect myself. And that is like, you need to choose a door finally and move on. So that was very interesting. Yeah, so that was my experience with that deck. I'm quite curious what I'm going to, you know, pick, because I haven't decided for my own for the next one. But this spread is very good as well, so thank you, Sarah, for making it. this goes into my spreads collection as well, because it seems like an easy one, but if you want to work with shadowy topics, if you want to work with problems and difficulties in your life, it's a very good one. So yeah, if you want to do some shadow work or just have some fun, because my spread can be used as a way to see why a certain deck doesn't work for you, or why a certain relationship, a situation, something like that is just annoying the hell out of you. It's really up to you how you're using the spread, because I wanted to have the option to be more light-hearted if the previous weeks were heavy, because they were for me. But yeah, all is positive, all is well, hopefully, and yeah, see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and bye.